Commissioner Drexler present on the phone?
Yes, I am present. This is Kim Drexler.
And just want to verify that Chairman Winslow is not on the phone?
I am on the phone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you like Commissioner Conway to run the meeting, or will you do that?
I think that I'd like to have Commissioner Conaway run the meeting, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well,
Mr. Hardigan,
Yes, Ms. Price.
could you, provide the, WebEx not the information, but the, turn it on, please, so we can see?
Live stream.
I believe we are live streaming, although the monitors in the room are not working, so, yeah, we did confirm that we are live streaming.
Okay, all right, thank you.
all right, we'll try to start again. Welcome to the Public Service Commission meeting of September 13th, 2023. Does anybody have any problem with the minutes as presented? There being none, I'll ask for a motion, please.
Madam Acting Chair, I move that we adopt the minutes as submitted.
Is there a second? Commissioner Drexler?
Yes, I second.
All right. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Abstain because I was not here.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
All right. Commissioner Correa is abstaining because he was not here at that meeting. But we do have enough to pass the motion. We have a consent agenda that has 11 items. Are there any items that anybody has a question on or would like removed? All right, Commissioner Correa, would you like to make a motion?
I move that we adopt the consent agenda.
I second.
All those in favor, any question on the motion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All right, motion carries. Now we're on to the regular agenda, I think. First matter is the annual update for the Infrastructure, Safety, and Reliability Plan for Delmarva, which was filed March 30th. We have Dawn Crompton for DP&L.
Madam Acting Chair, I have a preliminary matter that I'd like to address first, if we could.
Yes, ma'am.
This docket was open to consider Delmarva's ISR plan, so the only question before the commission today is whether or not to acknowledge that the plan complies with the regulations. Delmarva's raising of the alternative rate-making issue is not a part of this case and is irrelevant to it. Because Delmarva raised this issue in reply comments, staff and the DPA have not had the opportunity to respond to it in writing because the regulations don't provide us that opportunity. And in any event, it is an issue for a different forum. So staff and the DPA would respectfully submit that the commission should restrict the discussion today to the ISR and whether the commission should enter proposed order number 10290.
Thank you.
Clarifying question. Does 10290 contain any information with respect to the rate making or only with respect to confirmation that the plan has been filed?
I think to the extent that it discusses rate making or alternative rate making, it's only because that's what Delmarva put in their reply comments. The order, I think, has a short summary of what both staff and the DPA had in their comments and what Delmarva had in their comments.
Ms. Pope?
I agree with Ms. Ivory. There's nothing to add. The only mention of alternative rate making is what was posted in the comments, and that was acknowledged inside of the order.
May I respond, Your
Yes.
Honor? Thank you, Madam Acting Chair. Dawn Kurtz-Crumpton on behalf of Delmarva. As we should all appreciate and be aware, a lot of these issues are interrelated, and what we're here today to discuss is our distribution system planning, which includes both the ISR report, which we're looking for confirmation of today, as well as our LRDP plan, our long-range distribution plan. What we're trying to resolve in multiple areas of our business is how we can move forward with the various programs, the regulations, and the various mechanisms that we collaboratively need to implement in Delaware in order to enter the next phase of energy regulation. I respect Ms. Iori's position that we did not expressly discuss alternative rate making in connection with the ISR plan, but it's a necessary pivot at this time because we have a process that we, Delmarva, believe does not work for the stakeholders' purposes. We have been hearing now for 4 years from staff and DPA that they don't believe that we are holding up our end of the bargain with respect to the ISR plan. We believe that we are holding up our end as set forth in the regulations, but more critically, we collaboratively have to focus on the future. We keep looking backwards, and these regulations, they require us to do certain things, all of which we've done, but in order to get the parties what they want from this process, we have to talk about alternative rate making. There's no way around it. So I understand what staff and DPA's position is. Our comments included a lot of information about alternative rate making. If staff or DPA had a concern with those issues being in the comments, they could have filed something with this commission prior. This is the first time we're hearing that DPA or staff would like to exclude our testimony on this topic. And frankly, we think it's just an important piece of information for the commission to have as they consider the request made by staff and DPA to reopen the regs. We think work needs to be done here. We absolutely agree work needs to be done, but we want to focus our efforts on that which will be most productive, which we believe to be alternative rate making. So it's very much related. It is incredibly relevant to the issue at hand. And frankly, we're just trying to give the commission some information about what we perceive to be as the best path forward that will take all information from all stakeholders.
May I respond? Thank you. I agree that it's broken, but it's not broken because it's not working. It's broken because Delmarva has decided that it doesn't want to hold to the purpose that these regulations were implemented in the first place, which was a collaborative effort to rein in Delmarva's capital spending. That's what this if Delmarva has a problem with it, it needs to be addressed in, their alternative rate making can be brought in a separate docket. It is not relevant to this, and Delmarva's attempt to insert it into this is just because that is the way they, as a business, want to handle it.
Your Honor, sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Your Honor, as an entity that's regulated by the Public Service Commission, we have rights to be heard by this commission. And we have interests in developing our process to move forward. This is relevant. Again, staff and DPA could have filed a motion instead of springing this on us. We do have several folks here who are here to present on alternative rate making as well as distribution system planning. So to the extent that we're going to try and exclude evidence, this should have been handled prior to sitting here at the table in front of you.
Well, first of all, there has been no testimony in this case. None. Zero. If these people were going to testify about this, then they should have pre-filed testimony, and we should have had an opportunity to review it and to proffer our own. Testimony at this point in this case is improper and inappropriate, and I object strongly to any testimony coming in about anything in this case. The only thing that has been filed is a plan, comments, which are not filed testimony, and reply comments, which are also not filed testimony.
Your Honor, we have heard from staff and DPA that discussion of alternative rate making does not belong in our rate case. We're now hearing that it doesn't belong in distribution system planning. I will note that we did not in the proposed order include a request that this commission take any action outside of what was previously discussed from Commissioner Gray's question. All we're here today to do is receive review and acknowledgement of our plan, but we have we are entitled to present information to the commission that is relevant to this issue as we deem it to be relevant.
Well, with all due respect, the reason it's not an issue in the rate case is because they didn't make it one. They controlled the filing of their rate case. And in their rate case, you might see a couple of mentions, but there's no testimony on it. There's no concrete proposal for evaluation. So that's why it's not relevant to the rate case. Now, we've been down this road before. I know Commissioner Conaway probably remembers with decoupling, another alternative rate-making proposal, and there have been others over the years. They were all handled in a separate proceeding in which testimony was filed and people were able to debate it. It is improper in this limited proceeding, and I object.
Your Honor, if I may, with my final comments, we are not attempting to gain commission approval or authority for anything today other than acknowledgement of our ISR. That is our purpose. But we, as a regulated company, should be afforded an opportunity to be heard by this public body on issues that are critical to us in this context. So I understand we are not going to seek to move forward on alternative rate making in this docket. We are assessing right now what next steps we need to take, but we have got to be able to present this commission this information and make it publicly available so that we can move on to the next steps. That's what we're here to do today.
With all due respect, nobody has stopped them from filing anything and providing the commission with information. What I am saying is that it's improper in this case. Talk about having something sprung on you. I expected that all we were going to see was, okay, they put it in their, they attached it to their comments. All right, fine. I mean, I don't think it's appropriate, but I wasn't going to complain about that. But then they brought half of Delmarva down, and they're going to tell you all about it. And what it is an attempt to sway you when we have had no chance to prepare any witnesses of our own to counter any of this. It is improper.
I believe we have some input from our commissioners. Commissioner Gray.
Thank you. Thank you all for the explanation. I do see this more or less as what I would describe as a scope issue. I do understand and appreciate the fact that these matters may in fact be related, but a couple of things I would say is that the agenda, as publicly noticed, says acknowledging the ISR plan was submitted in accordance with. And so if that in fact has been publicly disclosed as the agenda to be discussed today in this forum, and I acknowledge Ms. Iori's concerns that if there's going to be an in-depth conversation, presentation to the Public Service Commission, perhaps there are other viewpoints, there are other opinions with respect to alternative rate making. And I, as a commissioner, would prefer, if we're going to take up this topic, to hear a variety of facets related to this topic as opposed to just one. So I have two concerns. One, the public noticed as it went out, and two, that there is only one opinion coming to the table in front of the commission. And you know, if we're not seated here today to make any decisions with respect to alternative rate making, then I would lean more toward Ms. Iori's point of view and limit this conversation to confirmation that you filed the report. Thank you.
Commissioner
Madam
Correa.
Chair,
Excuse me.
I said, Madam Chair, I concur with the comments made by Commissioner Gray. I would love to hear the arguments that Delmarva is referring to, but I would prefer to hear them when I am more prepared and more noticed about what the argument is going to be. And I'm especially concerned that the public advocate doesn't feel that they've had adequate time to prepare for those sort of discussions. So I'm in favor of limiting the inquiry to the approval of the ISR process. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Correa.
I also concur with Commissioner Gray. I think the thing is very clear on this agenda. It says Infrastructure Safety Plan Update 2022. There's nothing else in the agenda item as public notice or what have you. If you really wanted to do something else, maybe you would have requested our executive director or our attorneys to put an agenda item that we want to bring this up, and then things could have been different. But I would say that merging two items which are quite opposite and quite sensitive compared to infrastructure safety plan is little unfair to us. We want to hear you, we want to support you, but not combining these two at the surprise moment of this public agenda. So I hope you understand my feeling, and same as Commissioner Gray.
Commissioner Drexler, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I don't thank you, Madam Acting Chair. I don't have anything to add at this point, and I would concur with all of my fellow commissioners' comments regarding this. And as Commissioner Correa just said, combining these two, into this is simply acknowledging that the plan has been filed as required. It should not be coupled with another topic that's obviously a hot topic and will be argued. So my feelings are much the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Drexler. This is Dawn Crumpton again, and thank you, Commissioners. I appreciate you weighing in on this matter. We did provide notice to both staff and DPA that we would have leadership here in the room today to present on this topic, and it's unfortunate that we're getting this information at this late hour when we've had a number of people arrive to give the Commission some information on this topic. So it is disappointing. I understand your decision and I respect your decision. I would just like to say that these issues are inextricably interrelated. Our comments, which are posted to this agenda, include information about alternative rate making. So to say that our reply comments, which I'm here to address, which talk about alternative rate making, are not appropriate to be discussed today, I don't frankly understand that. But I respect your ruling, and we would respectfully request a forum to meet with you to talk about alternative rate making. We have the state of the company coming up in October, and we were hoping to get this information to you prior to that time so that you would have some context for that meeting. Again, the item that is on the agenda includes information about alternative rate making, so I don't understand why, if there were a problem with our comments and the scope of our comments, that should have been raised prior to us bringing down these folks from Delmarva, and that type of courtesy from us giving notice would be appreciated in the future from the parties.
With all due respect to my colleague, and I do respect her, I think it's very unfair to throw this on us. They are the ones that threw an irrelevant issue into what is a limited case. And I know that Delmarva believes fervently that these issues are all interrelated, but we don't think that they are. And the Commission might agree with them eventually, once you've heard it all. But we have not had the time to retain anybody. There's not even a particular proposal.
That's right.
So, I'm sorry, may I
You
finish?
may, I'm sorry.
So, I refuse to take any of the blame for this. I refuse to take that staff takes any of the blame for this.
Again,
Thank you.
It would have, as customary with our practices, it would have been nice to have advance notice of this. That's all I'm saying, Your Honors. Thank you.
Commissioner Correa?
With due respect, I like to sort of move, if it's needed, Madam Chairman, that we stick our discussion to what is publicly published, so that each member of the public, or 1 million of us in Delaware, we know exactly what we are going to discuss right now and nothing else. Now, if you, rate making is a separate issue. I don't think you should go into this right now, but it can be commingled, but not this. This agenda clearly says infrastructure safety plan 2022. That is it, because this may be a legal issue and what have you, and I as Commissioner would not like to go into that kind of a situation.
Madam
Commissioner
Acting
Gray?
Chair, I do have a question, Ms. Crompton. So is there pending or a need for a decision from this commission that is time sensitive with respect to alternative rate making, that deferring it from today is going to interfere with or undermine?
No, Your Honor. In short answer, no. We are very eager to get this information to the commission. Again, we keep being told by staff and DPA that it's not appropriate in this forum, it's not appropriate in that forum. You know, we have been debating whether or not to open a separate docket for this because we just don't know how else to share this information with this commission. You know, again, as a regulated entity, we don't have anything pending right now, Your Honor, that would require us to get this information in front of the commission, other than, as I said, we do have the late October State of the Company coming up, and we did want to provide the commission with information prior to that meeting because we do have a senior leadership team that will be presenting that day.
All right, I think we need to close this discussion and get on.
I would agree, Madam Chair. I would only ask that the parties perhaps take this offline, but together in an integrated conversation to determine when best and what information should come back to the commission for consideration.
With that, I would suggest that the
Madam Chair?
company file an
Yes.
application so that we know what we're dealing with.
Yes, Commissioner Winslow?
I would note that the order involved in this matter in paragraph 1 merely says that the commission hereby acknowledges that Delmarva's final ISR plan and any associated comments has been filed and is consistent with the regulations, et cetera. So I understand the intense desire to go further, and I think, frankly, that getting that information will ultimately be very helpful to the commission in its deliberations on issues. But I respectfully submit that we should proceed and answer the question that's actually in the order. Do we approve that language or not?
I concur with your feelings. We have before us proposed order number 10290, acknowledging the ISR plan was submitted in accordance with PSC Regulation 3007. May I have a motion, please?
I move that we adopt the motion number 10290.
I'll second.
All right, any questions on the motion? All those in favor, Commissioner Gray,
Aye.
Commissioner Correa,
Aye.
Commissioner Winslow,
Aye.
Commissioner Drexler,
Aye.
and I vote aye. Motion carries.
Madam Acting Chair, would it be possible, now that this matter has concluded, would it be possible for the folks that have traveled this distance to Dover to make public comment session today?
All right, you?
Your Honors, with all due respect, again, this is an attempt to sway the commission. Delmarva can file an application and let everybody get a chance to see exactly what it is that they're proposing. We have no way to counter any of this.
Again, we are not proposing anything today. We are just here to provide information to our regulators.
And to tell you how great alternative rate making is and why you should do it.
Can I intervene, Madam Acting Chair? So I have an opinion on the public comment request. I think Delmarva is a regulated entity before the commission, and I think that as such, it would not be appropriate public comment for getting this detail communicated to the commission. So it may be best to work with Executive Director Hartigan and the public advocate to figure out the best way of getting this information in front of us.
Thank you, Your Honors.
Thank you. Item number 2 on the regular agenda is the matter of the notice of potential violation of 26 Delaware Admin C, subsection 8002, and associated civil penalties assessed to Common Sense Solutions, opened August of 2023.
Thank you,
Summer.
Madam Acting Chair and Commissioners. Summer Pope on behalf of staff. With me today is Pipeline Safety Manager Wayne Erickson. And for your consideration today is docket 231140, which is an excavation damage matter. Title 26, Subchapter 1 contains the Commission's Underground Damage Prevention and Safety Act. The Commission's regulations, codified in Chapter 8002, establishes the Delaware Public Service Commission's enforcement program for violations of the Act. On June 30th, 2022, staff received a report that the stated company had potentially violated the act for failure to call 811, which means that they did not have a missed utility ticket prior to excavating. The commission sent the company a warning letter, one on July 5th, 2022, and one on August 19th, 2022 for the potential violation. For warning letters, the company has 30 days to respond. However, staff did not receive a response to either letter. Then, commission staff received a second damage report dated May 24, 2023 for failure to call 811, which is failure to have a missed utility ticket prior to excavating. Accordingly, pursuant to the commission rules, staff commenced a proceeding and issued a notice of probable violation, which is an NOPV for short, on June 13th, citing the two damage reports. For the first offense, staff recommended that there be a $100 civil penalty, and for the second offense, a $200 civil penalty. The company had 30 days to respond. However, it did not. On August 10th, 2023, staff sent the company a letter noting that because of its failure to respond, the commission is authorized to find the facts to be alleged in the NOPV. Staff did not receive a response from the company. Staff therefore requests that the commission find the facts to be as alleged in the NOPV and to issue a civil penalty to Common Sense Solutions, LLC, in the amount of $300, which will be payable within 30 days of the receipt of the final order. Thank you.
Any questions from the commissioners?
Yes, Madam Acting Chair. Okay, so it looks like they're penalized for not responding. I didn't find any information of what other violations. Was there another violation being notified? Was there any other damage or actual liability that occurred?
The damage, what they're being fined for is failure to have the 811 ticket. The damage that they had caused was to pipe mains, I believe. They are not being penalized for not responding to the NOPV. It's just how we continue the process going when we have no response. Generally, we send a warning letter, hope to get a response from the company, and the company has a few options. Some of those options are to, provide a written plan of how they're going to remedy the situation in the future, how they're training their staff and such. If there's more than one offense, we usually go to an NOPV so that they learn from their mistakes and, are penalized for such. But there was no significant damage from my understanding in these two damage reports. But the first violation is a $100 fine, the second violation and subsequent offenses after that are $200. So that's where the $300 comes from.
So they're not here, they didn't have to appear today?
They are not here. They were notified of the proceeding, but did not appear.
And so if they had not responded and they've been penalized an administrative penalty, how does one know that they've gotten the message that they need to do something different going forward so that we limit any liability or actual damage that they may do in the future?
Staff has undergone significant fact-finding to find these registered agents and who the registered agents' addresses and whatnot. They're actively in the field, so we're assuming we also send all of our mail via first-class mail, and it comes back signed. So we do know that somebody is taking this mail.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for staying on top of this, Wayne. It's important.
There'll be more. We're working on lots of these excavation things.
No further questions.
Thank you.
No,
Yeah.
I don't have any questions.
Commissioner Drexler or Commissioner Winslow, do you have any questions? There being none?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, I do not.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I move that we adopt order number 10292 as submitted.
Would I have a second to that motion, please?
I second the
second.
motion. Oh.
Thank you, Commissioner Drexler. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Commissioner Winslow?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion carried. Third item on the regular agenda is the matter of Delmarva Power and Light Company's Gas 2022 Infrastructure Safety and Reliability Annual Report, which was filed on April 28th. All right, Brian Jordan from DP&L.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Brian Jordan on behalf of Delmarva Power and Light Company. And I wanted to start with an acknowledgement to staff and to the public advocate for their work on Delmarva's 2023 to 2027 Infrastructure Safety and Reliability Plan. As this commission knows, the Administrative Code expressly requires that, quote, the commission shall acknowledge that the plan and any associated comments have been filed and that the plan is consistent with the requirements of this regulation. And the code goes further to make clear that, quote, commission acknowledgement shall not constitute commission pre-approval of any proposed capital spending necessary to maintain the reliability and quality of the gas distribution company's distribution services. That said, the plan that is in front of the commission for this limited process is the 2023 to 2027 ISR plan. It is in full compliance with the procedural requirements that are set out in Section 8003. It starts out with timing requirements. As Madam Chair, as you noticed at the beginning, the proposed plan was filed April 28, 2023, prior to the April 30th cutoff date. Following that, in the summer of 2023, there was what I call the cooperation period between the parties, where data requests were exchanged, information exchanged, conferences held, and that culminated with the final plan that Delmarva filed on August 4th, 2023, within the 120 days, required by Section 7.2. As for the actual plan, the company agrees with the joint comments that, quote, DPL's ISR plan was complete and provided the necessary information to review the 2023 capital budget. This year's plan was structured similar to the way it was in the previous 2 years, where we have a section titled Annual Budget Support, where it describes the multi-level budget review process that capital projects undergo for approval. That's followed by a section 4 titled Mandatory 6.1.1 and a section 5 non-mandatory 6.1.2. And as you can see from the table of contents, it's structured to coincide with the categories required by the Administrative Code, and it breaks it down into mandatory and non-mandatory spending. And these sections describe the various investments and programs that Delmarva is undertaking during this time. That's all in compliance with the code. Finally, and mindful of the conversation earlier this afternoon, there were 5 recommendations that were included in the joint comments that Delmarva has accepted 4 of those. And although they're not necessarily part of the review and acknowledgement phase today, I did want to let the commission know that we did accept 4 of those 5 recommendations. And there was also an issue, again, not related to the ISR, but involving how the company interpreted planned versus unplanned outages, and a recommendation from staff and DPA on a different interpretation that the company has also agreed with. And as the commission will see in its order, mentions that the company will refile its 2021 and 2022 annual reliability reports as needed by September 30th of 2023. Therefore, considering the fact that the ISR plan meets the regulations and is consistent with the regulations, the company is asking for the commission to enter proposed order 10303. Thank you.
Thank you. DPA, staff wants to go first, okay.
Thank you, Madam Acting Chair and Commissioners. Summer Pope on behalf of staff and the DPA. For your consideration today is order number 10303, which acknowledges that Delmarva's final ISR plan has been filed and is consistent with the regulations. As Mr. Jordan already went through, the proposed ISR plan was filed in April of 2023 and its final ISR plan in August of 2023. During the time between those 2 filings, Delmarva did provide and responded to written data requests, participated in telephone conferences with staff and the DPA regarding the proposed plan. On August 22nd, 2023, staff and the DPA submitted joint comments, and in those comments, we noted that Delmarva did meet the filing requirements of the regulations, provided the necessary data to perform a capital review of the 2023 budget, and that Delmarva communicated with staff, the DPA, and our consultant to resolve data requests. Specifically, our consultant noted a number of things. One of them, Mr. Jordan did mention, which was one of our largest recommendations, which was to come to a agreement on their interpretation of unplanned versus a planned outage. Staff and DPA appreciate the Delmarva's willingness to consider that interpretation. Delmarva filed reply comments which indicated its willingness to work with staff and the DPA to provide additional information, and specifically stated they would refile their reliability performance reports by September 30th to reflect staff and the DPA's interpretation of that outage. Under the regulations, by accepting proposed order 10303, the Commission is acknowledging that Delmarva's 2023 gas ISR plan is consistent with the regulations. The acknowledgement does not constitute pre-approval of any proposed capital spending necessary to maintain the reliability and quality of Delmarva's distribution services. Staff and the DPA would like to thank Delmarva for its efforts in the 2023 plan and its collaboration with staff and the DPA. We also thank the Commission for its time and consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pope. Commissioners, are there any questions? Commissioner Gray?
I move that we adopt order number 10303 as submitted.
I second the motion.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioners.
All right, item number 4 on the regular agenda, in the matter of the application of Chesapeake Utilities Corporation for approval of a change in its gas sales service rates to be effective November 1st, 2023. And we have Lindsay Foy.
Thank you, Madam Acting Chair Conaway and Commissioners. Lindsay Foy on behalf of Chesapeake Utilities. You have in front of you proposed order number 10304, which will open the docket for Chesapeake's application for approval of a change in its gas sales service rates to be effective November 1st, 2023. Chesapeake filed its application in this docket on August 31st, 2023, and I would like to personally extend my sincere appreciation to staff for expediting this opening order onto today's agenda due to a scheduling conflict that I have with the next meeting. As compared to the rates in effect on November 1st, 2022, the rates proposed in the application will result in an average RS2 customer using 700 CCF per year experiencing an annual decrease of approximately 19.13% or $19.95 per month, and a typical RS2 customer using 120 CCF per month during the winter heating season experiencing a decrease of approximately 21.26% or $41.04 per winter month. Proposed order number 10304 opens the docket, sets deadlines for intervention and written comment, and permits the proposed GSR changes to become effective for usage on and after November 1st, 2023, subject to refund pending the Commission's further review and final decision. Again, Chesapeake thanks Ms. Pope and staff for preparing the draft opening order and respectfully requests the Commission approve proposed order number 10304. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Pope?
Thank you, Madam Acting Chair and Commissioners. Summer Pope on behalf of staff. As Ms. Foy noted, this is the opening order for Chesapeake's gas service rates docket. Staff has no objection to the form of order presented today and asks the Commission enter it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Iori?
Thank you, Madam Acting Chair and Commissioners. The Public Advocate has no objection to the proposed form of order.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, are there any questions? I'll entertain a motion to adopt order 10304.
I move that we adopt order number 10304, opening the docket.
I second.
Thank you. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much. That closes the regular agenda. Are there any members of the public who wish to make comment? All right, administrative matters. Mr. Hardigan?
Madam Chair, before
yes.
we go to Mr. Hardigan, I'm holding what appears to be a written public comment that is related to the ISR and rate-making scheme.
Yes, that was submitted, assuming that the commission would have allowed a discussion regarding alternative rate making.
Okay, so I would only propose that when and if the rate-making
Yeah.
comes back to the commission, can this public comment come with it?
I believe that the party would have to refile it and a docket, should that docket be open.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to raise that
But
question.
she will. I'll make sure of it.
Madam Chair,
Yes?
are we speaking about the Graham letter?
Yes.
I would just like to express my appreciation to Ms. Graham for her information and for her requests, and full well knowing that staff and DP&A will direct her in the right direction for those matters to be taken care of. And I'm sure that Delmarva Power and Light has clearly gotten the message that they should prudently look into their issues at Weldon Farms, et cetera, and make sure that the appropriate thing is done to repair the damage, not to the individuals, but to the distribution and transmission system.
Thank you.
Thanks, Madam Acting Chair. Three updates for you today. The first is I wanted to formally welcome Crystal Bienick as our new Commission Secretary. Crystal, as you all know, was our former accountant. We also had a new analyst start this week, Abriana Wright. Bree is with us in the audience.
Welcome.
Glad to have her, and she's working with Josh Bowman. Secondly, it's Lifeline Awareness Week. As you all know, Lifeline is a federal and state program that makes telephone service available or more available to low-income customers. So on our Facebook page this week, we are highlighting Lifeline in an attempt to raise awareness about the program, and that's something that is happening nationally through NARUC. The third item concerns a proposed letter that I would like the Commission's support on. Last May, the Environmental Protection Agency proposed new standards for carbon dioxide emissions for new and existing power plants in support of President Biden's goal of reducing greenhouse gas emissions. The EPA received over 1 million comments. Among those was a joint comment from wholesale electric system operators, including PJM, Southwest Power Pool, ERCOT, and MISO. In their comments, the joint ISO RTOs said that the proposed rule has the potential to, quote, materially and adversely impact the electric reliability, unquote, and said that the EPA should consider reliability before implementing the proposed rule. So the rule was discussed at the OPSI staff level. OPSI is not going to take action, but the West Virginia Public Service Commission did draft a letter that they circulated to state commissions asking for support, or if any commission wanted to sign on. So I did provide a copy of that letter to you last week. The letter's been revised a little bit to move the ask of the EPA higher in the letter, but otherwise has not been materially changed. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, or if not, just ask for the commission's support in signing on to that letter.
Mr. Gray?
Mr. Hartigan, I've seen the letter and made a couple of recommendations with respect to it, but I absolutely support the ask. I think it makes a lot of sense. And so I'll weigh in and recommend, or I would say I'll move that the commission adopt and support the West Virginia appeal to the US EPA.
Thank you. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Thank everybody for their input and questions about this. It is a work in progress. It was proposed by West Virginia. There were a lot of questions on an OPSI call. There were some really good recommendations from Delaware, and Commissioner Gray has proposed some edits that make this more palatable in terms of length and such. And so it is West Virginia group is accepting edits from all of the states. So this isn't a final, but it is, the gist of it is important, and I do think we should support it.
Thank you.
And I vote yes.
Okay. And Commissioner Winslow, you vote aye?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. That carries. All right. Any other comments?
Our next meeting is 10/4.
Oh, that's a very good date. Yep. There being nothing else on the agenda and no other comments, meeting adjourned.